Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to dig into something I know a ton of you are curious about. What makes a playlist on Spotify, really take off? We all have those playlists we love, but what are the secrets behind the ones that just seem to blow up?
Right.
Luckily, you sent in some seriously cool research to help us unpack all of this. We've got this paper straight from the journal Marketing Science, and it's called, get this, What Drives Demand for Playlists on Spotify?
Catchy, right?
I know. It's by Max Pachali and Datta at Tilburg University.
And they got access to some really incredible data for this one.
Seriously impressive stuff.
They analyzed over 30,000 playlists.
30,000? That's wild.
It's a level of depth we rarely get to see.
This isn't just like a small sample size. This is a panoramic view of how these things actually work. So, ready to break down the science behind what makes a playlist a hit?
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
The first thing that really jumped out at me was just how much power Spotify itself has.
Yeah, you see their influence right away.
Like right off the bat.
The researchers found that being featured on Spotify's search page, that little section?
Oh, yeah.
That translates to almost a 1% daily increase in followers.
Which, okay, at first glance, that might not sound like a huge number, but...
Hold on a second. Think about a playlist with, let's say, 2 million followers.
Okay, yeah.
That's potentially 20,000 new listeners every single day, just from being in that one spot.
It's huge.
And the paper actually uses the example of a playlist called Reggaeton Classics. It was, catapulted to a whole new level after being featured.
Really? Wow. So it's not just about discovering individual songs anymore.
No. It's about Spotify curating a whole listening experience.
And we're turning to them to guide us.
We are. It's like they've become the tastemakers on this global scale.
Yeah. They have so much influence.
This whole thing, it speaks to a pretty big shift in the music industry, right? Spotify isn't just a neutral platform anymore.
No.
Their editorial decisions have a real impact.
So we've got Spotify basically playing kingmaker. But what about the artists themselves? Does featuring a big name on a playlist still carry weight?
Oh, absolutely.
It does.
Yeah, the researchers called this the superstar effect.
Okay.
And they found that adding a track from a chart-topping artist, it definitely leads to more followers.
Okay, but how many more are we talking about? Is it double the followers? 10 times. Give me the numbers.
Here, hold your horses. It's a significant increase, but it's not quite on that scale. They saw about a 0.45% increase in daily followers.
Okay, so still a lot of new listeners.
Oh, for sure. A lot of new listeners. To put that into perspective, for an artist with 1 million plays, that's an extra 4,500 daily listeners. It's not a small jump.
Not at all.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting, getting featured by Spotify, twice as effective.
Whoa, that is huge.
Yeah.
So while a superstar's name definitely plays a role,
Definitely.
Spotify's own choices seem to hold even more weight.
Absolutely.
It's like their seal of approval is everything.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder, what does it take to get that Spotify feature? What are they looking for?
Right. What's the secret sauce?
Yeah. And more importantly, what does it all mean for the artists?
That is the million-dollar question. And unfortunately, this paper doesn't give us all the answers.
Okay.
But it does highlight how important it is to understand these algorithms.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Spatify's inner workings, it's like a whole new playing field for musicians now.
It's like trying to, crack the code of some super exclusive club. You got to know the right people, the right music to play.
And maybe a little bit of luck doesn't hurt either.
Right.
But here's the thing. This is where it gets really interesting, especially for artists who are just starting out.
Yeah.
If you don't have a major label, with all its weight behind you,
right,
this research could seem, maybe a little daunting.
Yeah, for sure. Because if Spotify has this much influence, how do independent artists even break through?
Exactly. And it brings up a really crucial point.
Okay.
Landing on a huge Spotify playlist, that can be a game changer. But it's not the only way.
Okay.
Building a strong, organic fan base, that's still incredibly valuable.
Oh, for sure. Those are your ride or die fans.
Exactly. And this actually connects to a much bigger conversation happening right now in the music industry.
Okay. Yeah.
The relationship between artists, these streaming platforms, and of course, all of us, the listeners, it's constantly changing.
And this research really kind of throws fuel on the fire when we're talking about artist compensation.
Oh, yeah.
If Spotify has this much power, are artists being paid fairly?
It's a super complex issue, but the researchers do point out that this adds a whole other layer to it all.
Yeah, it makes you realize how much influence a platform like Spotify actually has. It's more than just a place to stream music.
Right.
It's shaping the whole industry.
It really makes you think about the implications for everyone, not just for artists, but for you as a listener, too.
Oh, totally.
It affects how you discover music, who you support. I mean, we're talking about the soundtrack to your life.
I've gone down some serious rabbit holes on Spotify.
Oh, me too. So many times.
And I bet our listeners have too.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what's fascinating about this research is that it shows us what's happening behind the scenes with all these discoveries.
Right.
It's like those unexpected musical encounters.
It's almost like Spotify is playing matchmaker, setting you up with all this music you never knew you needed.
I love that. It's so true. And it actually ties into something we talk about a lot on this show.
Yeah.
The power of curation.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in a world with, let's face it, way too many choices.
So many.
Millions and millions of songs on Spotify. I mean, where do you even start?
Seriously, it's completely overwhelming.
It would be impossible to navigate without, a little guidance.
You get a map.
Exactly. And that's why these playlists, these Spotify features,
Yeah.
they're so powerful. They act like filters.
Oh, interesting.
They help us make sense of it all.
I like that.
Right. All this music out there.
So it's like a roadmap then.
Exactly.
Whether you're looking for something new or just letting the algorithm do its thing, it's almost like Spotify is saying, hey, we know what you like, so you're going to love this too. And you know what? They're usually right.
They do a pretty good job, yeah.
But all this power they have, it really makes you think.
It brings up so many questions.
Like, how do we balance these curated playlists and all this with actually supporting the artists we love?
Exactly. Where's that balance?
Right. So, to all you music lovers out there, let us know. Where do you fall on this?
Yeah.
Do you love these curated playlists? The algorithm and all that?
Yeah, are you riding the algorithm waves?
Or do you try to, go off the beaten path a little, find those hidden gems?
Make your own path.
Exactly.
It's a tough question.
It is. There's no right or wrong answer.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But it's something to think about,
Yeah.
Next time you hit play on that Spotify playlist.
Totally. Well, that wraps up another deep dive. We explored the wild world of Spotify playlists.
All those algorithms.
The power of them. We talked about how artists, these platforms, and listeners like us are all connected.
It's a whole ecosystem.
It really is.
Yeah.
For all the links to the research we talked about today, head over to our show notes. And whether you're, chasing the algorithm or forging your own path,
Blazing your own trail.
keep exploring, keep discovering,
Yes.
and keep those playlists spinning.
Absolutely.
We'll catch you in the next episode.